wrote a really good piece for us, and one of the things you were sort of saying was that McCain needed to go harder for some of Obama's weak points.
Absolutely.
I was wondering if you wanted to tell me what those weak points were.
Well, the refusal of McCain to go after the Reverend Wright story is, I believe, gross misconduct on his part. He's worried about being tainted as a racist. I think. I'm not sure. But to me, if you sit in a church for 20 years where a guy preaches hate against whites and preaches hate against the USA, and then you tell people you didn't know that he preached that hatred that was sold in the lobbies. I mean, his church gave Farrakhan a Lifetime Achievement Award. His church took a field trip to Libya and met with Gaddafi. It is absolutely absurd that the GOP has not beaten Reverend Wright over Obama's head for the last 3 months. I don't know if they haven't done it because if the church was a black church, so because of that they don't want to do it. But to me, to me that disqualifies Obama right there because it's basically a treasonous church.
But if it's so clear cut, why do you think they haven't done that?
I think they're afraid of the racial backlash and afraid of polarizing the nation. If they did that and won, it would polarize us even more. And I'm really not sure. I mean, I sent them letters asking why. I mean, there's many people. I don't know why. I can only try to analyze in their head why they're doing it.
Palin
why they
seems
haven't.
keen.
Yeah, why McCain hasn't done that because it's probably his call.
Yeah.
But he has decided. He has always been one of his better traits. He's always been sort of a guy that didn't like to get in the gutter and always wanted to stay above the fray and not stick to the issues. And that's really more of a personality trait than it is an issue.
Yeah.
But so I think, and once he said he wasn't going to do it in the primaries, he said he wasn't going to do it. I guess he just decided to stick to his word. Well,
he seems to have gone after other issues. Heirs, it's a very similar issue to Reverend Wright, an issue of Obama's judgment of who he calls his friends, who he calls his
I agree
his
with you
associates.
100%. I agree with you that if they're going to go after heirs, they should go after Wright, and also a gentleman named Khalidi, who was another inner circle friend of Obama that is now a teacher at Columbia University, and he has very strong ties to the PLO. And Obama has lied to Jewish groups about that, and he doesn't want to mention it, and they're not running commercials in Florida about it. And this guy was in bed with the PLO. He was investigated for raising money for them.
What other ways do you think McCain could have changed his strategy to be in a better position now than he is in?
Well, I mean, those are the biggest things.
Yeah.
And he probably should have went after the war harder because Obama basically was willing to lose the war when he was running for election. I mean, he wanted to cut off funding for the troops. And then when the financial meltdown happened, McCain would have been better off not to I think that's where his election started to fall apart, and he was going to come back to Washington and he's going to suspend his campaign, and that whole thing was just a fiasco. It just really, really didn't smell right, and the polls just tanked.
Have you been disappointed in his performance?
Slightly, yes. I mean, I love the man, and I hope he's president, and I'm not. I mean, right now the good polls were like 5%, 6%.
Yeah.
So it's possible, but but I really wasn't completely happy with what Bush did. I always want to see my candidates do more.
Yeah.
No, I have not been completely 100% happy with the way they run the campaign. I would be a lot harder. I'd be a lot, and I wouldn't worry about what people said about me.
I just want to go back briefly to something you touched on there about the divisions within American society now.
Yes.
Do you think whoever wins next week, how are red and blue America going to get on with each other after the election?
Well, that's a good question. I think that if Obama wins, like everybody says he's going to, the far left, these 9/11 truthers, I don't know if you're aware of them, and the Code Pinkers who just hate the military, these people are going to end up turning on Obama, just like they've been. I mean, they're not going to be as as passionate about the anti as they were Bush. But Obama's not going to, say that the USA was behind 9/11. He's not, he's not going to shut our military down.
Yeah.
So there will be a fraction in the far left. I call it the cuckoo left. There'll be a fraction with those people. The media, probably as soon as he gets elected, the media is going to say that how great the war is going and how great the economy's going. So everything's going to change. I know I complain about the media a lot. Everything's going to change, and so in that fashion, it will be a little bit better. Where right now they just hate Bush, so they can't have a good thing to say about anything. They always have to complain. As far as the far right and the far left getting together and the chasm of abortion, and I just don't see it until we can find a way to solve that issue, because there's a lot of hatred there. I don't hate people for believing in abortion, but a lot of people hate me because I don't believe in it. They think I'm trying to tell people what to do with their body when I'm just trying to save lives.
What if McCain wins then?
It's going to be the same way. It might even be harder. The country might be able to solve. To be honest, the country might be able to come together around Obama more than they would around McCain for a short period of time. Everybody in the world's going to be so happy until they realize that Obama's not going to give up American power. And Obama thinks he's going to get Europe to fight with us in Afghanistan. That if he becomes president, the Germans are going to get in their tanks and drive to Afghanistan, and that's not going to happen.
Yeah. So
people have a lot of awakening. If it was for the British, there's nobody else helping us. French are now helping us.
Real Pundits.